so capable and able, so capable and able, so capable and able, so capable and able. My life ain't so stable, my life ain't so stable, my life ain't so stable. Hear this. I'm so capable and able. You know that my life.
Today is a special segment I want to have because I want to highlight one or two things, you know what I mean? And the first thing I want to highlight is the translation of Jesus, because in Ethiopia they call him Jesus Christus. And when Selassie I say Jesus Christus, the interpreter says Jesus. But I want you to take in a clip here, and then I will come back to all the witness. Check it out.
Jesus Christus'un Jesus Christus'un Jesus Christus'un Jesus Christus'un dinlikkattaliğim ederken
when Jesus Christ was born from Virgin Mary.
Yeah, so what I want to explain to all, right? Jesus Christus, Jesus, Yeshua. That is the same Christ, different languages, but with the Jesus. When they took us from Africa and they carried us to the European lands to be slaves, what they did was they gave us a Jesus with an identity, a white man identity. So therefore now, automatically, dear Jesus in the Jesus. So when Emperor Haile, Selassie, I go to these parts of the world like America and France and England and this stuff, and I ask him if he is the Christ reincarnate, what should he say? Because if it's me, I can't say yes because I don't know this white man. And only refer to this white man as Christ. And if only refer to this white man as Christ, that means he can be my ancestor who is the Christ. You know? So it have a guru who said some things that I want you all to hear. I won't say what he said, taking the clip. And I want you all to also remember, I am searching as well as you are searching. So anybody who agree or disagree, you're free to comment at the bottom and say what you think is right. Because we are searching for the truth. Alright? So taking the guru, straight from India.
There are people who know what he did and who he was. And certainly one of the great gifts to humanity. He did his work and went, although it appeared that he left certain places undone or Ethiopia was not properly cared for. But high command, even higher forces than in God's power said that certain people have to go through certain surgery. They have to go through certain suffering so that they will become as stronger soul. In our philosophy, in the religion of truth, as I am an existentialist, I am a realist, and according to reality, you can never die. You are not this house of flesh and bone. You are not this house of flesh and bones, which sleeps, decays and dies. You are not this house of flesh and bone, which sleeps, decays and dies. You are immortal consciousness, Lord of the earth and the skies. All of you are this. And the thing with His Majesty, the Divine Being, He had realized it, you have not. That's the difference. So if you practice, you will also realize this. Fortune and good opportunity to meet the great spiritual being called Haile Selassie. He was called the conquering lion of Judah. Conquering lion of Judah. So this was a great opportunity, and I felt very humbled and I felt very joyous at the same time to have met him. This was in the year 1981. I think I mentioned it in my book. I don't know exactly. Was it 81 or 82? Not 85, 82. At that time I was very young and he was in it, nearing his 90s. It was a great experience to meet such a spiritual being. He was not an ordinary being, he was a spiritual master. Oh! And his work was very difficult because he took on a lot of karma, a lot of hardships from the people of Ethiopia. These souls had to pass through these tribulations, they had to pass through trials to get to the eternal heavens, to get to the eternal space, the space of God. So he was preparing the space of God. Some people had said that His Majesty had already gone, he had taken his samadhi, he had died. That was the rumors. But some people, the Rastafarian people and other people, that feel that he came back from his body, because I met him in 1982 and he was declared dead in 1970, sometime in 1970, right? 1975. And I met him in 1982. That means, like the Christ, he has either risen from the dead. So this is the thing which it's a very spiritual thing. I won't want to go into this. I'm going to leave it to you to contemplate and see what this great master had done. And that he was there and he expressed to have a fire ceremony. So that time he was nearing 100. He was well over 90. His question was that when I wrote in my book that I met His Majesty Haile Selassie in 1982, the question was, did anybody challenge you? Because he was already dead in 1975. And or did anybody want to question you on that? So I felt that the Rastafarian community had a great sense of awe. It was surprise, and they did not challenge because they knew and they felt that His Majesty had the power to resurrect. You understand? And those Rastas who wanted to challenge did not have the courage, because they knew that that His Majesty, after all, he is from the house of Solomon and of the house of Sheba, and this is a very sacred thing. He is a divine being, and the divine being can do anything. And I think you see. The minds of different people are different. So the mind in Africa is more open. They are not closed. They are not inhibited. They do believe, yes, a spirit can come, an angel can appear, Christ can bless you, Haile Selassie can meet you. As long as you have that hope, He can come and meet you. You can feel His presence. You can feel Him talking through me. So once you open up your heart, nothing is impossible. Nothing is impossible. God is not impossible. Only the stupid mind is impossible, which keeps tripping over its own doubts. And then ultimately, if the mind keeps doubting, it gets analysis, paralysis, and dies. The moment your mind dies, God appears. God is no mind. God is. And when the mind disappears, God appears. As long as the mind is there, God chooses to be in the background. So the mind is ego. It's piping up all the time and trumpeting its own glory. I did this and I did that and I went here and I went there. So these are the sort of discussions I had with His Majesty. And he was very intrigued in the science of yoga, in the science of Kriya Yoga and breathing. And he practiced it. And when he practiced it, he saw the result also. From the divine spheres. He's not only born in this life, he's tens of thousands and thousands of years old. That soul is tens of thousands and millions of years old.
I see the heavens declare your glory, yeah, oh, and the firmament show it is handiwork, yeah. Selassie, I facing the moon, the moon, the moon. I knew that it's coming soon, so soon, Yeah, Selassie, I facing the moon, the moon, the moon. I know that he's coming soon, so soon. Yeah, so all pestilence we walk afternoon, and the reptilian who are wear them costume. Who don't want the youth them fi bloom, so them kill every prophet when them sing them tune. Jolly them with the rod, sweep them with.
Also, only respect recovered from an illness, I decided to come myself to defend the cause of my people before the Council of the League of Nations. I hope, however, that the Council will be good enough to excuse me from reading the whole of my declaration, and will allow Atotazar, permanent delegate to the League of Nations, to read it in my place. Although only recently recovered from an illness, I decided to come myself to defend the cause of my people before the Council of the League of Nations. I hope, however, that the Council will be good enough to excuse me from reading the whole of my declaration, and will allow Atotazaz, permanent delegate to the League of Nations, to read it in my place.
Selassie.
On the question of racial discrimination, the Addis Ababa Summit Conference taught to those who will learn this further lesson.
Peace. Rastafari is the Prince of Peace.
That until the philosophy which holds one race superior and another inferior is finally and permanently discredited and abandoned, that until there are no longer first-class and second-class citizens of any nation, that until the color of a man's skin is of no more significance than the color of his eyes, that until the basic human rights are equally guaranteed to all without regard to race, that until that day the dream of lasting peace and world citizenship and the rule of international morality will remain but fleeting illusions to be pursued but never attained. And until the ignoble and unhappy regimes that hold our brothers in Angola, in Mozambique, and in South Africa in subhuman bondage have been toppled and destroyed, until bigotry and prejudice and malicious and inhuman self-interest have been replaced by understanding and tolerance and goodwill, until all Africans stand and speak as free beings, equal in the eyes of all men, as they are in the eyes of heaven. Until that day, the African continent will not know peace. We Africans will fight if necessary, and we know that we shall win, as we are confident in the victory of good over evil. The basis of racial discrimination and colonialism has been economic, and it is with economic weapons that these evils have been and can be overcome. In pursuance of resolutions adopted at the Addis Ababa Summit Conference, African states have undertaken certain measures in the economic field which, if adopted by all member states of the United Nations, would soon reduce intransigence to reason. I ask today for adherence to these measures by every nation represented which is truly devoted to the principles enunciated in the Charter. We must act while we can, while the occasion exists to exert those legitimate pressures available to us, lest time run out and resort be had to less happy means. The great nations of the world would do well to remember that in the modern age, even their own fates are not wholly in their hands. Peace demands the united efforts of us all. Who can foresee what spark might ignite the fuse? The stake of each one of us is identical: life or death. We all wish to live. We all seek a world in which men are freed of the burdens of ignorance, poverty, hunger, and disease. And we shall all be hard-pressed to escape the deadly rain of nuclear fallout should catastrophe overtake us. The problems which confront us today are equally unprecedented. They have no counterparts in human experience. Men search the pages of history for solutions, for precedents, but there are none. This, then, is the ultimate challenge. Where are we to look for our survival, for the answers to the questions which have never before been posed? We must look first to the Almighty God, who has raised man above the animals and endowed him with intelligence and reason. We must put our faith in him, that he will not desert us or permit us to destroy humanity which he created in his image. And we must look into ourselves, into the depth of our souls. We must become something we have never been, and for which our education and experience and environment have ill prepared us. We must become bigger than we have been, more courageous, greater in spirit, larger in outlook. We must become members of a new race, overcoming petty prejudice, owing our ultimate allegiance not to nations, but to our fellow men within the human community.
Rastafari.
It is good that you are here to record this picture of me in my palace garden at Addis Ababa. People who see this throughout the world will realize that even in the 20th century, with faith, courage, and a just cause, David will still beat Goliath.
All right, and this is the end of Selassie Corner. Until the next time, see you then. Blessed.
I'm so capable and able, I'm so capable and able, I'm so capable and able, I'm so capable and able. My life ain't so stable, my life ain't so stable, my life ain't so stable. Hear this. I'm so capable and able.